Hello.
Hello.
We have a breaking news emergency episode for you guys today.
It's a big one.
Yeah, some big news just in the past 24 hours. A lot
Yeah.
has gone on. I'm sure everyone has seen Lewis Hamilton is leaving Mercedes
Yep.
at the end of the 2024 season and joining Ferrari.
Joining Ferrari. And, we've heard rumors.
Yeah.
We've heard speculation. But did you ever think you'd see the day?
No, I said last night that Lewis is going to retire.
No, that was the big, we were like, well, first of all, we'll get into it. But
Yeah.
we had a lot of different theories on what it could be.
So many theories.
We thought it could be him retiring.
Mhm.
We thought it could be something with Checo and Red Bull.
Yeah.
We thought it could be something with, I thought of a million different things. Did not think about Lewis going to Ferrari.
No, not at all.
So I did think maybe Carlos not being at Ferrari.
Yeah.
But not Lewis.
Yeah, we did question that.
So we're going to give you a breakdown. We're
Yep.
going to give you our thoughts on what the repercussions of this could be.
Mhm.
We're going to have some really outlandish theories.
They're going to be fun now.
They're going to be fun. Do we think all of them are realistic? No, but that's no fun. We're going to talk about all the possibilities.
Oh yeah, there's many.
So many. It's gonna have a trickle effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect.
This is all it's gonna be just like Alex Albon's appendicitis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is gonna be that again.
All over again.
But it's gonna be for 2024 silly season.
Yeah.
AKA, I guess that's starting now.
When it usually
Silly
doesn't start this early.
Silly season came early this year.
This season hasn't even started.
The season hasn't even started. This whole season's gonna be a silly season.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
can just feel
insane.
it. So, Gracie, if you want to start off, just giving a little recap of what happened from the beginning.
So we're going to talk about the timeline a bit. So first thing, on Wednesday, Will Buxton tweeted in mid-afternoon and was like, big news is being released. Like, if it's what I think it is, this is going to be massive. And everybody was like, there goes Will again. Like,
I know, this is not the first time he's done this.
No, he loves to do this.
And things in the past, when it's done, nothing's come from it.
No, yeah.
I'm thinking, remember during last season with Checo.
Yeah, like in Mexico.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing really came of that.
So.
And then last night, still Wednesday, a couple hours later, like news about Ferrari or Lewis going to Ferrari was breaking, and the Italian media had kind of jumped in with it, saying like, Lewis is coming, like be ready, like this is gonna happen 2025. And then everybody was like, wait a minute, is this what's happening? Is this a bit more serious? And then Thursday morning, Sky Sports F1 broke the news that he was officially going, but also Sky Sports broke the news that Oscar was going to Alpine, so people were still like...
That's true.
Yeah. And then I think when I was like, oh, this is like kind of real, is Sky Sports sent a reporter to Mercedes headquarters, and she was there and was like, everybody just came in for a meeting. They left 10 minutes later. Like, this is it. This is a done deal.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting.
Oh my gosh, I know.
You just know Toto was like, I don't know if he was more pissed or heartbroken, but he was feeling a lot of strong emotions, I'm sure.
A lot of strong emotions. And
what do you think George Russell thinks?
I'm going to be the number one driver at Mercedes.
He's probably like, here's my chance.
Yeah.
This is it.
I bet he's a little bit excited.
Probably.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
God, honestly.
You're living, he's been, when did George Russell join the team? Like 2020 or 2021?
I think 21.
Yeah, so he's been, working with Lewis for a long time. He's probably ready. It's there's so much to unpack here.
So much.
Starting off with the fact that supposedly Lewis didn't tell them until yesterday.
Yeah, that's huge. And it was a phone call to Toto. Like, it wasn't even in person, is what we're hearing.
So sad.
So that leads me to believe that somewhere somebody heard this news and leaked it.
Yeah, and they're like, crap, we gotta release it now.
Yeah, have to do it. Why would they say so early that, like, the season hasn't even started?
Yeah. I just can't believe. What time did Sky Sports announce it? Like 5 a.m. our time?
Yeah, it was 5 a.m. our time.
I just remember I woke up, my alarm went off at 7:45, and I was looking at my phone, checking everything. I don't know why. I normally check my text messages first. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I checked Twitter first.
Yeah.
And I saw all of this happening, and I was like, what is going on? What is going on? I was searching through all the tweets. I saw all of the reactions, like, oh my gosh, like, what? Yeah. Like, I saw, like, Oscar's tweet. I saw Lando's tweet before I even knew what the news was. And then I was like, let me check my text messages. Sure enough, Grace did text me and did break the news to me.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I just, You know what we did get out of this, though?
But
we did get an Oscar Lando Twitter interaction.
We
so
did. You know what?
As much as there is chaos surrounding this,
Yeah.
McLaren fans,
we're kind of staying on top right now.
We're kind of winning right now.
We really are.
Well, again, we'll get into the repercussions of it, but I think that the chaos that this is going to bring is going to work in our favor.
I think so.
Because they're going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Both teams. The fact that Carlos has to drive for Ferrari for the rest of the year, knowing that they chucked him out.
Yeah.
Which we don't know for sure. Maybe he already had plans of leaving, and that's why they even decided to bring on Lewis. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that we don't know.
But that Lewis also has to drive for Mercedes the whole year.
Yeah.
All of Mercedes knowing that he's ditching them.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how that's gonna be amicable.
It's gonna be an interesting season for sure. All the drama.
It's gonna change the dynamics. Gosh, I'm already looking forward to next year's Drive to Survive season.
What is Netflix has to be scrambling right now.
Yeah, and they're like, can we squeeze it in? Can we squeeze it in? I wonder if they will.
And maybe it's just a quick thing, like at the end of the season. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Back to this news potentially being leaked. I've seen a lot of people online talk about this, and I thought about this as well and agree. Yeah. I definitely could see this being leaked to get the backlash and to get people to stop talking about Andretti being denied into F1.
Yeah, it is kind of convenient that it happened literally same day.
Yeah, same day.
24 hours. And we, you know what, let's touch a little bit on that too, because we, obviously, it just released, and it literally is getting overshadowed by this news. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not particularly happy with the fact that it got rejected.
No, I'm not happy either. And first of all, Andretti as a team is amazing. They've won so many awards. So
very established in American motorsports.
Yeah.
Very established.
And F1 wants to say they want to branch into the American audience, but they just want the money out of it. They want the American races.
Sponsorships. Yeah. They want the, big ticket, like Miami. They want Las Vegas, the things that are going to make headlines, but they don't want to. Obviously, they don't see the benefits in bringing in an actual, a good American team.
Yeah,
which is just, Haas, but
which is so insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw that TikTok where I sent you, brought up a good point that Williams is doing more for American audience in F1 than any of it because of Logan and then Leah, who they signed for Formula One Academy, both American drivers. You just don't see that any other team doing that right now.
Oh my gosh, I agree with her 100%.
Well, I don't know what American drivers would come over if they were to try to branch out and get more American drivers. It's like a whole nother episode right there.
Yeah, literally.
But I do think it's kind of messed up that they denied Andretti. But
they're like, come back in 2028. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
We'll talk.
Sure.
Okay. If I was Andretti, I'd be like, F you.
Yeah.
I'm not joining Formula One, but they aren't because it's Formula One. And of course, they're still going to do it. They're going to be like, okay, I'll come back in a couple years.
We'll touch base in a couple years.
Yeah. Let's circle back to this. Thanks. So, but that was a quick thing. We'll move past that. Yeah. But yeah, I think with I think potentially it could have been leaked on purpose. I think it could have been set, did it to overshadow. But I do think that it was pretty unfortunate for Lewis.
Why do you think
that the news broke like that?
Oh yeah,
he's not going to be able to have, imagine just let's say that you put your notice in for a job, but you still have to work with that same job for a full year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Everyone knowing that you're leaving to go because you don't think that you can be successful at this with this company, with this team, and you're going to the rival.
Yeah.
The rival? Yeah. I'm just thinking about that in work terms. If I told my boss, hey, you know what? In a year, I'm actually going to go to our direct competitor and work for them. All of the stuff in the car, they're not going to be able to have really fulfilled conversations about the dynamics of the car, because why would they? They're just going to give him all this information. He's going to run off to his little Ferrari friends and tell them all about it. It's just not going to be. It's going to be rough for Mercedes, and then looking at it from Carlos's side, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder
upset for Carlos
the whole year. It's really disappointing. And again, we'll talk with our thoughts on where we think everyone's going.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of thoughts about it.
Yeah.
But Carlos is ultimately, right now, he doesn't have a team for 2025, which, again, we don't know what things are going on in the back end. He could have already had a team lined up, and that's why they even thought to bring on Lewis Hamilton, which, again, the way that the news broke is unfortunate for Ferrari because they look like the assholes here.
They really do.
So even if there was a plan, they look bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes from that.
Yeah. I think also from like, I don't know, maybe like behind the scenes or like PR standpoint even, Ferrari could have done a little bit better at their like one more, like I get it, it probably broke quick, they had to get the news out quick, and then they were like,
they're
okay,
scrambling.
we'll talk about, they're scrambling for sure, but like they could have made it a little bit more heartfelt, and I'm sure it will be at the end of the season. But like we got one more season to go with the arm emoji. That's so unserious to me.
It's so unserious. Yeah. Did you see Lewis's message too? Like he was so like, I've been with, this team for so long, and I've been with them since I was, 13 years old, and all this stuff, and it just comes off very like not genuine to me.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't think it came off very genuine. I think he could have. I guess also if the news broke and it was out of his control, I guess he is in a tough spot.
He had to quickly say something. Yeah,
he had to quickly say something, but I still think that it should have been a more established, like, this is what I'm doing. Let's plan. Let's talk about it. Let's take things slow.
Yeah,
and maybe it was out of his control and he couldn't afford to do that. But on the other side is if it wasn't leaked to the media, because they never said anywhere it was leaked, like it really could have just been the plan.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes Lewis look like a jerk.
A little bit, yeah, I would agree.
And it makes Ferrari look like a jerk.
100%. I love Ferrari, but the way that this is happening with Carlos right now is a little upsetting.
Yeah, but then again, I do feel a bit like what is it called? A hypocrite?
Yeah. I feel
because
like some of my
the
opinions might seem
whole
hypocritical.
Alpine McLaren thing, on the other side, I'm a McLaren fan, and it's, a very similar situation.
It was, yeah.
Alpine thought that Oscar was driving for him, and he kind of called them and was like, nope, also this announcement's coming out tomorrow that I'm driving for McLaren. If he even did that, if not, it's just the tweet. And then McLaren did it, and like kind of...
Also, Lewis has like a longer history with Mercedes.
It's true. It's true. It's definitely on a smaller scale. He was a rookie. It still did push Daniel out, but Daniel was already kind of on his way out the door at that point. So it wasn't like everyone knew Daniel wouldn't be there in the next season. Yeah. So it's different. It's just interesting, the parallels.
It is very interesting.
And where I stand on those parallels.
Yeah.
From things.
Yeah, that's so fair.
I don't know why I feel the most bad for Mercedes, like the team.
Interesting.
I just love George Russell.
You do love George Russell.
And I'm on the other end. I hope this isn't hurting his feelings. I hope he's doing okay.
I think he's fine.
But I just hope so because he's just a little baby.
He's fine. He's going to be their top driver now.
I know. He's probably excited, but it's his friend Lewis is leaving him.
He seemed like they were kind of hating each other all season. What are you talking about?
Yeah, when they made contact. Where was that?
Qatar, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Qatar when they made contact, and he's like, he turned on me, didn't let me space, that was his fault, and then everyone was like, oof.
And then at the end, he they filmed him giving him a hug and be like, sorry man, was my bad.
Yeah, that they were like, go hug, record it.
Yeah.
And just get over it for the fans, and they're like, they were probably miserable doing that. But...
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of Lewis doing the switch is... Some of it's not surprising considering in Japan when no, it wasn't Japan.
I don't know what you're
Singapore
saying.
When nobody showed up for him for Mercedes.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
And like, Ferrari was celebrating with him, McLaren was celebrating with him. Like,
he has a pre-existing relationship with Fred.
Yeah,
that I was not very happy with Mercedes that weekend. And granted, like they were all helping George, who was in the wall.
Yeah,
currently, like during the podium, he was still practically getting out of his car because he, of course, crashed in the very last turn of the race.
Yeah,
but somebody could have
showed up.
They could have showed up. He looked so sad.
He literally said, "Where the fuck is my team?" Like,
okay, wait, I'm kind of changing sides.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I have so many sides.
I'm kind of Team Lewis now. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to like figure out who I side with, because at the end of the day, I want both of them to fail.
Yeah, actually, really. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be tension everywhere. Great for McLaren.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I go back and forth on who I think's in the right and in the wrong, and I don't think there's anybody that's technically in the wrong.
Yeah.
I think the whole situation was just unexpected. I wasn't expecting it on a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. to wake up to the news that
literally.
Lewis was leaving the team that he's been with for majority of his career.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Before the season was starting, it's just so crazy.
Yeah. So I think we can get into what we think's gonna happen.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a couple different things.
I do too. I have
my notes.
I have like a bit of a safe option, and then I have more of a
I will
option.
say. So obviously we know that Lewis is going to Ferrari.
Yes.
Which we know for a fact pushes Carlos out of his position at Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just know that the Charles girls are probably, I don't know, I think some of them love it and some of them are nervous. And I think some of them love it because none of them loved Carlos.
Yeah, they really didn't.
But also Lewis is going to come in and he's not going to be an easy teammate to have.
Yeah.
We remember Mercedes, and yes, he's calmed down a lot more since Mercedes.
Yes.
He was young. He's much more mature now. Yeah. And I think maybe he could actually give Charles a lot of good information, good feedback, good advice.
Like, they've always been friendly, but now that they're going to be on the same team.
But Lewis is used to coming in and being the top driver.
Yeah.
He's used to coming in and winning over his teammate all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And either one, Charles is going to beat him at some of these races and Lewis is going to get really frustrated.
Yeah.
Or Lewis is going to beat Charles and Charles is going to get, like, there's no winning in this situation.
I don't see it either.
The Charles fans obviously want Charles to get all of the wins for Mercedes, vice versa, or for Ferrari. Yeah, vice versa. I see it. So I'm just saying, Lewis is Mercedes. Yeah. Mercedes is Lewis.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna have a lot of
insane.
Yeah. So, but we know that Carlos is gonna be, kicked out. Yep. So I have, I think Carlos. This is what I think.
Is this your only opinion on where Carlos will go?
Yes.
Okay, I have two, so you go ahead.
I think he could go to Stake.
Okay.
And boot out, I think Valtteri.
Okay.
Because mine's like a little bit of a web.
Okay, yeah.
So Carlos goes to Stake and just has to put up with being on a crap team until Audi comes in 2026. Yeah. It's 1 full year with Stake.
Yeah.
Another option is he could come on as a reserve driver for Stake.
Oh god.
That would suck, but he'd be able to get prepared for Audi.
That's true. It's also
a lot more when he's not driving.
Yeah.
But I think he will drive for Stake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he'll kick out Valtteri. I think Valtteri...
Don't say it.
...is not going to retire.
Don't say it.
I think Valtteri could go to Williams.
Oh.
He has ties with Williams. Yeah. He drove for Mercedes. Mm-hmm. Mercedes and Williams. He has ties with Williams. I think he could go to Williams. And I think Williams is going to stick with having an experienced driver and a non-experienced driver.
Okay.
Whether that be Logan, whether that be a different rookie. Sorry, I know you don't want to have that discussion now.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other one will be.
Yeah.
But I think he'll come in. Alex Albon, I think he would go to Mercedes.
Yes.
And that seems like the most natural transition to happen. That makes the most sense in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, Williams and Mercedes have that relationship. It'd be very easy to pull Alex up to Mercedes.
Yeah.
That just opens up a whole nother thing to discuss, because Alex and George are such good friends. We know that Mercedes has a habit of pitting their drivers against each other. Mm-hmm. They let them really, race hard. There's a lot of pressure to drive for a team like Mercedes, and there's a lot of pressure to be the number one driver. I think that could... I don't think it will. Actually, I don't think it will.
Yeah.
But there's always that fear that this will be a Mercedes 2.0.
We will pray to every god out there that this isn't Mercedes 2.0.
If George and Alex aren't best friends, what's the point?
That is so true, yeah.
of anything.
Like, I would love them on a team together, but I'd also be slightly terrified.
Slightly terrifying because it's hard being a teammate
Yeah.
with your best friend, obviously.
Like, I'd be scared if Lando and Max were teammates, too.
Exactly. Same thing. It'd be the exact same situation. There would be a lot of pressure to be like, Alex would come in wanting to prove himself.
Yeah.
And George is going to already have that fear of like, Lewis is gone. I have to lead the team. I have to be the one getting the wins. I have to be doing all this.
Yeah.
So I think that is an option. The other option I have is Carlos is a reserve driver for Stake for 2025. Alex stays at Williams with whoever. We'll say Logan for now.
Thank you.
Other possibilities of taking the Mercedes seats. They could always bring in Mick.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a long shot, but I think
so.
I think not to say that like they're gonna capitalize on him being Mick, but I think it'd bring a lot of media attention.
Yeah.
And I think that they would. I mean, with Lewis and George, they had a very experienced driver. They had an inexperienced driver. They could keep that same thing.
Yeah,
Mick's not quite he's not a rookie.
No.
He's driven an F1 before. He's been with the Mercedes team for a while. He has a really good relationship with everyone there. So, I think it'd be a pretty natural, again, a natural transition for Mick to come in to the Mercedes team and kind of let George be the experienced driver, which it feels weird to say because, you know, George seems so early in his Formula One career, but he joined Formula One in 2019. Like, he is, you know, been in this for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's now kind of time for him to step up. Same how Lando's stepping up as the more experienced driver. It's kind of, you know, time for George to do the same thing. Even, you know, George, Alex, and Lando all started in 2019. Alex is an experienced driver, giving Logan some pointers. Yep. Same with Lando and Oscar. It's time for George to have the same opportunity. I think he could do that with Mick. This one that I'm going to say next is really random.
Okay.
But I could see Pierre.
Oh, interesting.
Going to Mercedes.
I did not think that at all.
I think Pierre is going to do everything he can to get to one of the big teams.
Yeah.
He had a taste of it with Red Bull, and I think he wants to get back into those big three, the big four teams. And I think he hates Esteban. So he's like, get me away from this guy.
Get me in there.
His contract's up. I think it would be not the most natural transition, but I think it could be a possibility.
Yeah.
If Pierre were to do that, then again, Mick would stay the reserve driver for is he a reserve driver or he's just in the driver program?
He's a reserve driver.
So Mick would stay a reserve driver for Mercedes. Carlos would stay a reserve driver for Stake. Alex and Logan would still be at Williams. And I think Pierre would go to Mercedes, and then Alpine would bring in a rookie.
Yeah, they could bring in Jack Doohan.
Yeah, or Victor Martins.
Oh, yeah.
And if they brought in Victor Martins, they would keep with the whole like French thing because Victor Martins does drive under the French flag.
They do love that.
And they're a French team. They have 2 French drivers now. It wouldn't be totally off base for them to want to keep their next driver French. And they have a reputation of having a really shitty time with bringing the people in their drivers program into actually starting Formula One. Yeah. As we saw with the whole Oscar situation in the past. So I think that them doing that could be a statement saying, look, we can bring rookies in. We can do this.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think I could see them bringing in Victor the most, I think.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
I love those. I did not see Pierre at all. That's good. And with Alpine.
I think, thinking of the other teams, like other drivers, especially on like those mid-level teams like Fernando, I didn't even think about Fernando.
Stop talking. Wait.
Sorry, that would be insane.
No, stop talking.
Oh, it's
stop.
And then Lance isn't going anywhere because he can't,
Shut your mouth about Lance. Shut your mouth about Lance.
So, I think that one of the Alpine drivers makes the most sense, and I prefer Pierre. Anyways, I think Pierre's a better driver.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's more consistent, so I think he would make the most sense out of those mid-range drivers to go to Mercedes. And those are my thoughts.
I love those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear yours because you came in before we started recording. She was like, some of mine are really crazy. Someone are really out there.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear. So what are you thinking?
Okay, so my first one is I think Carlos could go to Stake. I wrote down Sauber. Stake, and then he just deals with a year of
As their one of their main drivers.
Yeah, I didn't really think about who they would get rid of. I don't know. I really didn't put much consideration into that.
I think, I mean, there also is if depending on, so if Carlos goes to Stake, I think they're either going to try to get Valtteri to go to Williams, or if Valtteri wants to stay at Stake, I think that they might get rid of Zhou.
Actually, I could see Carlos replacing Valtteri and keeping Zhou because Zhou's younger.
That's true.
Yeah, I have that, and then he'll stay for Audi 26. He'll kind of be, who they focus on. We know the ties he has with Audi.
Yep.
I have that. I could see that happening the most, but I also thought of something a little chaotic.
I know what you're gonna say.
If for some reason Checo happens to leave Red Bull, I don't know. Carlos goes in for a year. He signs just like a 1-year contract in and out for 2025. And then 2026 he goes to Audi. And then the 2026 lineup is Max and Daniel.
It's not the most outlandish thing.
Yeah.
Carlos obviously has ties to Red Bull. The only issue I see with that is depending on how Daniel, like, why would they wait another year? Why would they put their focus on Carlos for just 1 year, knowing that it's just 1 year, when they already have a driver, Daniel, who they want to move in to that? And they have plenty of people right now that are vying? Did I say that right?
I think that's,
vying for that Red Bull seat with Daniel, with Checo. Checo probably wants to stay, because who knows if Checo will have another spot.
If Checo leaves.
Daniel, Yuki, and Liam Lawson all wanting to get into that second Red Bull seat. It just seems like it would be kind of crazy.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe crazy like Lewis going to Ferrari, but it'd be crazy for them to make that move knowing that Carlos is probably going to Audi.
Yeah.
Maybe they can convince him to
unless
stay.
they give him like a good enough deal. He has ties still.
He has ties. His dad has really strong ties to Red Bull.
Yeah.
And his dad does have a lot of sway. You also said that, Carlos Sainz Sr. and Jos Verstappen. That would just be the drama alone. You could have a whole reality show surrounding that.
Yeah.
The team of Nepo babies.
Wow. Yeah.
Which Red Bull, Nepo baby, it kind of checks out
a little bit. Yeah.
Not as much as Aston Martin with Lance, but
that was just Carlos going to Red Bull for a season was just like chaotic.
But I mean, there's definitely some good reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
It would just be.
It'd be.
And actually, you know what? If Red Bull could convince Carlos to stay, Carlos has been much, much, much more consistent in his racing than Daniel's did. That any one of those drivers have been. He's probably been maybe not as consistent as Checo, but probably not far off.
You also might look at the fact that he was the only non-Red Bull winner of 23.
Yeah. The fact that it's literally out of all of the winners of 2023, it was Red Bull and Carlos.
Yeah.
And that could be enough to be like, we have enough potential. You put Carlos in a Red Bull now, like, who knows what? I mean, put anyone in a Red Bull.
Yeah,
who knows what'll happen. But like, maybe put in a Red Bull, he could be good enough. And another thing I didn't even think about, but maybe Red Bull brings Carlos on as a reserve driver for 1 year, and in that year convinces him to stay.
Oh.
But making him a reserve driver will let him at least get in the car, feel it out, see how it feels for him driving, see if he can handle the Red Bull.
That's a good point.
And if he does, good laps on the sim, like, does a good enough job, maybe they'll offer him a little bit more money than maybe Audi would be able to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because as much as everyone just assumes he's going to Audi, it's also going to be their very first year in Formula One.
Yeah.
They're not going to instantly come in and be this amazing team.
No, yeah.
So does Carlos want to really, go through that whole rebuilding process? Or would he, if he's given the right amount of money, would he stay with Red Bull? and take over Checo C. Keep Daniel at AlphaTauri. Maybe.
Who knows?
And I think that's a valid point.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for Mercedes seat, I also put down a potentially for Alex Albon to go once again. Hope there's no Mercedes.
Yep.
You're gonna go crazy. Okay. I have once again a whole little thing just like you. Alonso to Mercedes.
Okay.
Because, alright, Fernando Alonso has been with so many teams. Yeah. I feel like he could just be like, hey, my contract's up. I'll jump to Mercedes. You know what? And I could see Mercedes being maybe wanting, if Fernando does good this year, being like,
we know him and George love each other.
Yeah. They do.
They already celebrate every New Year's Eve together.
They're besties, flying on planes together, playing ping pong in the air.
Yep. And another thing is, I think Mercedes would appreciate having another experienced driver. Because again, although, George has been here for a couple, in Formula One for a while now, he hasn't really shown that he can be I don't know, I think he's just used to living under Lewis's shadow. I think that'll be a really tough transition. Say Fernando comes in, he's got to only have a couple more years in him. Then again, people have been saying that for forever. Maybe he drives for Mercedes for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
In that time, again, they continue building, giving some tips to Mick, build him up, and then eventually they move in. Maybe George isn't ready to be the more experienced driver at this point.
I also think
it would be great, but sorry,
okay.
But I will say I don't see Fernando having any strong allegiance to Aston Martin.
No, me either.
If Mercedes offered Fernando a spot, he would take it in a heartbeat. He would not stick around. Versus with Lando, how he's very loyal to McLaren. Fernando, I don't see that with Aston Martin at all.
Yeah. I love Alex, but I could see if both Fernando's camp and Alex's camp, they went to Mercedes and were like, here's our stuff. Whatever. Here's what we got. I could see Mercedes choosing Fernando over Alex just because, I don't know.
I mean, looking at Fernando's
his
career,
history,
of course, and he would be able to give a lot of really good feedback. I do wonder how him and Toto would work together.
Oh my gosh,
I wonder if they would butt heads.
Probably.
Toto's a strong personality, and so is Fernando.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. To follow through with my little trickle effect of that, I think then Alex would, if Aston Martin has a good year this year, Alex would take Fernando's spot at Aston Martin. And if not, I think he would stay at Williams. If my whole timeline worked out. But Alex goes to Aston Martin, and then if Logan does good this year, he stays at Williams, whatever, maybe. We'll see. Then I think Williams would maybe bring in Fred Vesti or, God, I hope I'm saying his last name right, or Zach O'Sullivan. Zach O'Sullivan's currently with their driver program.
But do you think they would bring in, because even if Logan does have an amazing year, he's still only 2-3 years into his Formula One. It'll be 3 years at that point. Do you think they would really bring in two drivers that are so inexperienced?
I don't know. I don't know if they could get a more experienced driver unless there's someone coming from outside.
Seb back.
Seb goes back to Williams? Whoa. I love Williams with all my heart, but
maybe Checo.
Yeah, maybe Checo.
Could go to Williams.
Yeah.
At that point, Checo will really just be like, I'll take any seat, if he does get booted out at Red Bull, there's not another spot for him.
Yeah.
It's all going to depend on timing, which is why silly season is so stressful.
Yeah, this is insane.
But he could easily take over that Williams seat and be that guidance to Logan. Two North American drivers. Again, just really Williams pushing the North American agenda.
Yeah. I think it's very funny that neither of us said Carlos goes to Mercedes.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen.
I literally wrote that in notes.
Imagine if it did, though. That would be kind of insane.
Carlos and George. I just don't see
what a duo.
I don't see them working well together.
Yeah, because
they're just two polar opposites of.
I think Carlos is still, right now, everyone is just assuming he'll do Audi 2026. And if that is the case, I don't think Mercedes would take him.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless he signed a multi-year contract.
Yeah.
And I don't think he will with Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you're Carlos right now, he's got to be feeling really low right now.
Yeah.
And as much as Audi can come in and promise him all of these things, we know how quickly things change in Formula One.
100%.
If he doesn't have a contract in place, if Stake maybe offered him a long, multi-year contract, that'd be different. But if he doesn't have that contract already in place for Audi and Mercedes, one of the top teams, an iconic team in Formula One,
oh my gosh, yeah,
came and was like, I want you on our team only if you sign a 3-year contract. I think Carlos is desperate enough to take it right now.
Wanting to stay in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. That also just has me thinking, is Stake allowed to give out long contracts when Audi's taking over in 26? Like,
I don't know, actually. Because I just assumed that if they didn't bring in new drivers, I guess they'd have to redo the contract.
Yeah,
so maybe there could be like a clause.
Yeah.
Or maybe he could sign a contract with Audi and sign a 1-year contract with Stake and go ahead and already sign a contract with Audi for the 2026. Like he could sign it for 2030 if he wanted to right now. Nothing's stopping him. Again, though, would Audi go sign something that far out when, again, so many things could change by then?
Yeah.
So I think that would be dependent on if Audi was willing to say, no matter what, Carlos, we will have you on our team in 2026. I think he would be okay with taking any of the team. Like, he knows he's not going to win a world championship with whatever team he goes to in 2025.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be willing to settle for a lower team like Stake or like Williams or any of those teams in order to still secure him that spot in 2026.
Yeah.
There's just so many different moving pieces.
So much is going to happen.
All I know is McLaren, Lando, and Oscar are... Well, I mean, of course, we can always say, like, not to jinx anything. I don't want to... But Lewis had a contract.
I was just going to bring that up. What happened? Obviously, what happened that he got out of that contract early?
I know, it is interesting. I wish we had a copy of it so we could see. Because there's obviously clauses.
I don't know, what clause did he have in there?
It very well could even be, like, a clause that if... Mercedes doesn't win Constructors' Cup, he's allowed. It's something as small as that, But it's not like Mercedes has been unsuccessful. Like, they came in second, right?
Yeah. Did he, buy his way out? I don't know. Obviously, there were clauses in there, but...
Yeah. I mean, he has enough money to buy himself out.
I know, yeah.
So... Interesting.
I know.
And the fact that Mercedes lost their major sponsor, Monster, and Lewis Hamilton all in the same couple of months. Toto is probably stressed as fuck right now.
He is really scrambling.
Yeah. Poor guy. So there's just a lot of trickle effects.
Yeah,
I think
so much is happening.
It's gonna be something we're gonna have to kind of keep a close eye on as the year goes on. But it is just so interesting that it happened so before the season even started.
Yeah.
A full season knowing that you're not going to be driving for that team.
For the car launch, the Mercedes car launch.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be crickets in there.
And the Ferrari one's going to be fucking awkward.
Yeah.
It's going to be so awkward.
It's so bad. Because at least, it's awkward for Lewis being, knowing everyone at Mercedes knowing Lewis is leaving because Lewis is going to what he sees as a better opportunity.
Yeah.
Versus Carlos, everyone knowing that he's leaving at the end of the season because he got pushed out.
The boot. They just made Carlos record that goddamn Ferrari ad. And now
that cringe ad, and he's like, "Oh, great!"
And now they're kicking him out. You made him go through all that.
Yeah, I think it's funny that both in Carlos' statement and in Lewis' statement, they both made a point to say this isn't going to affect. I'm still going to push hard for all these wins.
Yeah, they were probably just told to say that.
Yeah, because in all actuality, your heart cannot be in it.
No,
you push and get this. Especially with Lewis, knowing he's going to Ferrari, he's going to push as hard as he can to get Mercedes higher up in the Constructors' Cup than his future team, which is going to give them more sponsors, which is going to give them the edge against him next year.
Yeah, there's
no way that you can genuinely do that.
Yeah, And even like it's gonna be harder now that everybody knows. Like they could have kept this under wraps for 6 more months, then released it, and it would have been less like, I don't know, like this being released before the season. The season starts in literally like 29 days.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah. What do you like think like the other drivers? Because really, we haven't seen any F1 drivers comment on it except for the Oscar Lando tweet communication, and then obviously the statements from Lewis and Carlos. We haven't seen like any word from like Charles, from George, from any of the other F1 drivers. You just imagine like them texting each other, like Max and Lando texting each other right now, being like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Or like Daniel being like, "Oh, this is crazy."
Daniel's cracking jokes in the group chat.
Yeah.
He's like, "At least you're not with Visa Cash at Red Bull."
V-carb. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how some of the other drivers are feeling about it, which I'm sure we'll get. I'm really interested to see what Charles thinks about it, because we know, did they see this coming though? Because Charles and Lewis really seem to
towards the end of
get
the year
closer and bond more. Obviously, after they both got disqualified from the same race, there was that unity there, but they definitely got a lot closer and was interacting a lot more the last couple of races of the season. I wonder if Charles already had like Ferrari already told Charles that this could possibly be happening, because there were rumors, but like there's always rumors, you know. And in that case, did Lewis already know this was happening like months and months and months ago?
That just reminded me, I forget when, it was a not too long ago, I think still during the season, Christian Horner came out and was like, Lewis Hamilton is going around for like pre-contracts or whatever. And then everybody was like, yeah, right. Like Lewis Hamilton speaking to Christian Horner.
And nothing came, because everyone focused on Lewis only going to Red Bull.
Yeah. And then everybody was like, Christian's a liar.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah.
Christian's probably like, yeah, I told y'all. I told y'all.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
I guess Lewis he was going around.
He really was looking for a new contract. But like, why? I mean, I get why he's probably frustrated that he hasn't been winning. But there has to be some other thing, because it's not like he's going to Red Bull. If he went to Red Bull, I think it makes sense. But Mercedes came in second in the Constructors' Cup last year. Ferrari came in third. So why would he leave Mercedes, who, as far as, you know, the points go, is better than Ferrari and definitely more consistent than Ferrari is?
Yeah, I could definitely see it being something even kind of so simple as Lewis is getting ready to retire in the next few years, and he's like, well,
you might as well try.
Might as well go to Ferrari, might as well go with the most iconic team in Formula One, the most well-known team.
Yeah, just to say that he drove for Ferrari.
Like,
that could be it. Like, maybe he doesn't care to win another championship. Maybe
he does, but maybe he's like trying to bring that.
But I don't think that would be the main motive for his move. I think it is that he just wants to be part of that long list of iconic Ferrari drivers, and to retire from Ferrari would be pretty cool.
He gave McLaren a world championship, brought back Mercedes, and then moves to Ferrari, and we don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Even I think he would be even content to get Ferrari to win the Constructors' Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Ferrari had to have shown him something too, like
again, like maybe they're gonna come in with like a kick-ass car this year. I'm scared because like I'm like, but McLaren is supposed to have a good year.
I know, yeah.
But then it makes you wonder: is Lewis losing confidence in Mercedes, and is Mercedes going to come in with a tractor next year?
Yeah.
Which again isn't the worst thing that could happen for McLaren.
Wouldn't be too sad about
it. But like, it is like, you do have to wonder, like, what do they know that we don't know?
Yeah.
What is their thought process?
So much.
I wish I could live on the inside of Lewis Hamilton's brain.
Oh.
I've always thought that, but more so now than ever.
And you know what? We get all this news, have everybody talking. You know what tomorrow is? Haas is going to try and show everyone their car.
Oh, shit. I forgot. I literally forgot that Haas was launching their car in literally probably like less than 24 hours. Poor Haas is like, hey guys, we're still here.
We're like slowly knocking on the door.
Remember how everyone was so sad about Andretti, the American team, not coming? Well, we're American.
We're here.
We're here.
Our new team principal.
Here's our car. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long year.
It
It's
is.
gonna be a crazy year.
I'm excited for the drama. You know there's gonna be drama.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, wait a minute. Carlos's family has a history of liking tweets. Or like, you know, from the media and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Carlos's mom to pop off on Twitter.
100%, I can't wait.
Yeah, honor.
Yeah,
It's all about
it
honor.
is, yeah.
It'll be rough.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's gonna come out of this. I also before we end, I don't know how true this is. I heard a rumor that something was gonna be announced from Carlos on Monday the 5th. So I don't know how true that is. It could be just nothing, but
What do you think? What do you think it'd be? Where he's going?
I don't
God,
know.
it's starting already though. Say he does say he's going to stay, and then it's going to trickle down. I'm like, okay, well, who's leaving then?
Like,
because at least with Ferrari, like we knew, like Lewis is going to Ferrari. We knew who was leaving.
yeah,
We knew. But if the case is wherever Carlos is going, we don't know who would be leaving. God, if he said he's going to Red Bull though, and you're right, the world would stop.
we're not ready for that.
If we thought
Actually,
this
I'm
was
so
big,
ready for that.
all of it together would be insane. Oh God! And then we have to start feeling bad for Checo, and then
I already
Checo's
feel
going to
bad for
announce he's
Checo.
going to. Yeah, we already feel bad for Checo.
I love Checo.
It's just going to be it's hard. Like I love the drama, but I'm also like, someone's gonna have they're gonna have to bring in another rookie next year.
Yeah.
Someone
Oh, go ahead.
is losing. Like someone on the grid. It's so hard because it'll be 2 years in a row with the same grid. Someone is losing their seat.
Yeah. Someone was losing their seat because of this, but I already felt like someone was going to lose their seat at Haas.
Right. I mean, if someone was losing their seat regardless, but it's going to be a hard pill to swallow because, again, while it's not going to be McLaren, which is great, it's going to be like I'm going to feel bad for whoever loses their seat.
Don't even talk to me if it's Logan Sargent.
Unless it's Esteban. I'm sorry. I mean, I'd feel a little bad, but be like, okay,
I was literally not. I was not expecting you to say that. That's so funny.
Esteban lost his seat. Be like that, and then I'd get over it.
Yeah,
but I don't think he will.
No, I don't think he will.
I think Alpine loves him.
Yeah, they do. He's pretty decent too.
Yeah, so we'll see. But then again, a lot could they haven't even It's also crazy they're starting silly season so early because what if the decisions are made before the season starts and then one of these drivers shit the bed?
Yeah. Or one of the teams is so bad.
Yeah. Say Ferrari has the worst year ever and Lewis is like, damn.
What did I do?
What did I do? Yeah.
You're like a good beginning, terrible ending.
Mercedes comes in, has the best year ever, and Lewis is like, I take it back, please. Toto, I'm sorry. Please.
Yeah.
Can I have my spot back? But everyone is saying they really hope that Carlos has an amazing year.
Yep.
Which in the 2024 predictions, I will say I did foresee Carlos having a really impressive year. And I just hope that's the case even more so because I want him to have an amazing year with Ferrari and Ferrari to be upset that he's leaving. And I hope that good things happen for him.
Me too. I hope he does so good
Carlos.
this year as one just last little
F you.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's good. Anything can happen though.
Yeah. I also just hope he keeps a good mental space.
Yeah, it's for his sake, I hope that he already has a plan in place.
Yeah, me too.
It sounds like if he is going to make an announcement on Monday that he already did have something in the works before this got announced, before maybe even they signed the Lewis contract. He already knew he was leaving and going to another team. I hope that it's all going according to plan for him. But again, it's just so I wish I was I just wish I knew. I wish I had all the information.
Yeah. It'll be good to see as the year progresses.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, this was our emergency podcast. Yeah. Definitely tune in for episodes to follow. We will be following up on this whole situation.
Yes.
This normal week's episode, we are doing a beginner's guide to Formula One. A lot of our listeners are not Formula One fans. And they have a lot of questions. So definitely DM us, text us, message us with any questions that you have about Formula One. And we will be doing kind of a bit of a breakdown on Sunday's episode, explaining the very, very basics of Formula One.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics. Yep. We definitely wanted to put this this episode together because it was a crazy day.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. It was a lot.
It was our journalistic responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if you enjoyed this episode, definitely give us a follow. We would appreciate any likes, any follows. Spread the word. Send it to your friends. Send it to your parents, your brothers, your sisters. Send it to anyone that likes Formula One. And we will be back on Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday. We post on Monday.
Yeah, we'll be back on Monday.
We'll be back on Monday.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.